Good morning. My name is Ed Slack. I'm an assurance partner with Plante Moran within their healthcare industry practice. You didn't pass your audit. Let me say it again. You didn't pass your audit. Words none of you like to hear, and certainly as auditors we don't like to speak. Unfortunately, it's a rarity more than a common occurrence. But these are more than just words to a CEO, a CFO, or board member. They can be your worst nightmare. These folks dread the board presentation of the audit results anyways, and they don't like surprises at the board meeting. Now we've made it worse by saying it's not a clean audit. So what's the worst that could happen, you ask? What are the ramifications of not passing your audit? Well, certainly as a rated organization, those could go down and your borrowing costs go up. How about the direct costs of fixing the problems uncovered during the audit? And certainly funding sources may dry up due to the concerns about management oversight. So when I say passing, what does that mean? Has different meanings for internally and externally. Does it mean an unqualified opinion? Does it mean not meeting debt covenants? Or how about no audit adjustments? Too often we're asked to read your mind. Through your lack of communication, did you not set the right expectations with your CPA firm? Did you know what you expected but you didn't tell them? Or was a thought just status quo because you've had the same auditors for many years now? Unfortunately, the perception of a lot of clients is that the annual meeting presentation of the audit is just another year gone by. 15 minutes on the board agenda and one of those necessary evils. Well, you're not alone. I must confess, as an auditor, I experienced times when I struggled to get energized to make these presentations. And it's not just because the board meeting is scheduled for 7 a.m. on a Monday morning. We as auditors are also guilty. We might just regurgitate historical information and deliver a document and not a service. After all, we're reciting numbers that you've probably heard about 3 or 4 months ago, and it shouldn't be that way. So why is there so much apprehension about the audit meeting? Well, it's different for each of the players. A CFO may be apprehensive about the message being delivered, and certainly the same thing for a CEO. Board members, they're worried about fulfilling their fiduciary duties and what the outcome of the results are. So what should you expect? Being taken out to lunch 5 times a year? Maybe a baseball game? How about being taken golf? Well, you deserve more than just an audit and a compliance officer. Here are 2 things I think you should expect. First, a collaborative effort to make your audit relevant to your organization. And I use the word collaboration because it does take 2 to tango, both you as a client and your auditor. And relevance could mean different things to different people. How about a trusted advisor? A trusted advisor that brings more value than just a compliance preparer. And unfortunately, too often we get called in after the fire has already started. So we've come up with 4 steps. While they're not rocket science and we certainly didn't invent them, but in our most successful client relationships, we have found these 4 things to be present. First, meet more than annually with your audit team. The benefits of meeting just at the planning meeting and just at the post-closing are very limited. By meeting more than annually, you can develop a relationship with your auditor to know what's going on in the industry, and also they learn about what's going on within your organization. Activate your CFO. What I mean by that is, these are your financial statements. They're not ours as auditors. I have found when a CFO presents the financial statements and the highlights of that to a board and the resulting questions, the process is more efficient and makes it more relevant to the board members. You need to take ownership of them because they're your financials. Ask for ratio analysis and benchmarks. Days cash on hand, debt service coverage ratio, things such as these let you know where you stand in the market relative to your competitors, and also, if you have a multi-site organization, where they stand against each other. Insist on education about industry trends and best practices. Your auditor should be telling you what's happening in the industry and what's going to be happening next. So you pay for an audit, but you get a document. So set the expectations up front. Communicate throughout the year. Be engaged as a CFO. See where you measure up through benchmarks and ratio analysis. And find out what's around the corner from your trusted advisor. It reminds me of a quote from my algebra teacher back in high school. By failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Thank you for your time.